Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, as always, joined by Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. Excited for this Friday show. We got a lot to discuss. The pod stocks finally caught a catalyst to the downside yesterday. We're going to talk about that headline. We're going to talk about Sears, which was supposed to report yesterday morning. They didn't, and nobody even noticed, really, I think, until after the bell when they actually reported their earnings. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about UPS, Nike, STI. A lot to discuss on our show today. Joel, what is happening in the S&P futures in the overnight session?
We are still talking September here. This is the last day I will be talking about September. Is December. Z is a front month contract now. Basis of September, we are up 475, trading at 29.10. Nice follow through on yesterday's rally. Your pre-market high, 29.12 and a quarter. That is right up near your 8-day high at 29.12 and a half. All-time high, 29.1750. On the downside, let's see if we can even see the close today. The close from yesterday was 29.05 and a quarter. Moving on to Bitcoin, little rally here, up 32.50 at 64.55. Crude rebounding, up 32 cents at 68.91. A lot of that was done in the after hours trading. Gold up $2.10 at 12.1030. Silver still in the red by a penny at 14.23. Let's bring in Triple D, and I know he's a little disappointed. He will not be traveling to the United States anymore.
Why am I not traveling to the United States anymore?
Because isn't anybody that talks about marijuana or anything not allowed to come?
Is it that they went? If you talk about marijuana,
yes,
you can't travel to the States now either. No. Okay. So, anyways, this is a joke, but give us the headline here that is actually driving the pot stocks down here today. Spencer Israel throws to you, and obviously that was a joke.
This was a headline from a story that was published at 4:33 p.m. Eastern time yesterday from Politico, saying that the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency will continue to apply longstanding U.S. federal laws and regulations that treat marijuana as a banned substance, and participants in the cannabis industry, that includes anyone, if you work in the industry or if you're an investor in the industry, you will not be allowed in the country. Apparently, says this one source from Politico.
This is interesting. So I thought I heard something about this a week or two ago. Anyways, everybody shrugged it off. The marijuana stock seemed to shrug it off. So if you just work for one of these companies, like let's say, you work for Afria, which is down in Leamington, which is close to a border city. If you disclose that you work there, or you have to disclose you work there, you're not going to be allowed to cross into Michigan. Is this right?
Well, first of all, it's pronounced Afria, and second of all, yeah, they won't let you in if you say so.
But what if you invest? Like, what are they going to do?
What if you don't say so, but then they find out you worked at Afria? They're going to ban you for life. This is kind of crazy, isn't it? Like, it's not like you're like. It's one thing to have marijuana on you and cross the border. It's another thing that you work for one of these legal pot companies. I mean, what do they think? Like that you're just going to have smoke, on you, or it's going to be in your clothes, or it's going to be. I don't get it. I don't get why.
The story quoted the source as saying that they already ban investors from other countries such as Israel, or they have already denied.
No, we're not Israel,
right? Okay.
Israel, I mean,
there's also
there's a lot going. Joel, there's a lot going on in Israel.
Also, they didn't specify any minimum level of investment that could potentially block you from getting into the country. So I don't know. This seems
this seems crazy to me.
This seems stupid and unenforceable. So
it does seem very difficult to enforce, but also just seems kind of crazy. But I'll tell you, the pot stocks here this morning are getting the absolute beats on this. Since this headline broke, it's been straight down. I don't know which pot stocks got the memo yesterday, or who didn't give the memo to Tilray, because the bubble burst and all these things yesterday. I mean, CGC was down $6 yesterday, $7. You're talking about 15%. CRON was down like 10% yesterday. You had the ones in Canada. Afria got killed yesterday. It was down like 15%, or Afria, however you want to say. I should know, it's from my hometown, but everybody calls it Afria down there, but I guess it's Afria. Anyways, it was down like 15% yesterday. And then you look at Tilray, and it's like, no, we don't go down at all. Tilray was actually, like a couple dollars off the high, made new highs yesterday. So Tilray was actually up 10 points yesterday. Today is not the same story. Tilray is down 21 points this morning, trading down 17%. CRON is trading down 10% more this morning. CGC is trading down 7%. MJ, which is the one you like, Spencer, the one you said you would invest in if you could, the ETF, it's down 6%. Canada, Toronto Stock Exchange pre-market's always light volume, but I do see Afria and also Aurora Cannabis, which I do have a short position on Aurora Cannabis. It's both of those are trading down in the pre-market, just slightly though, only like down 2%. But Canada's pre-market, Toronto's pre-market is very not very much traded.
Wow. I mean, these things were due for a pullback. I just, can't really make a whole lot of sense out of the, out of the Politico, how it's going to be enforced or whatever. But, we don't care. There's a catalyst. There's a catalyst to the downside here. And TLRY down at $20.76, trading at 99 even. That's the lows of the pre-market. Now, 98.22 happens to be your pre-market low. I don't even know where to try and find a level on this. I mean, 97.61 is your 2-day low. So if you want to stick your toe in the water there, but after that, it drops another $10 to 87.50. So there's some potential areas. I mentioned this to Dennis yesterday. Just for fun, I looked at the 118 puts, and this is when the stock
on Tilray.
Yeah, on Tilray. And this is in the afternoon. It was trading at 118. And
what strike?
118. Yeah. And
yeah, okay. So what expiration?
Today.
Oh, today's expiration. So
yes.
You're looking with a day left.
A day left.
1 day left.
It was $8. It was $8.
This is crazy.
And
so you're looking at it at the money put on Tilray with 1 day to expiration, and was worth $8.
Yes.
Holy cow. So here you are, you buy that put, and yeah, okay, you're doing okay on it. You're up $18 on it now. But I mean, all you're doing is doubling your money, and you had, this awesome headline go your way. Biggest down move the stock has seen maybe ever. I mean,
sure.
I don't know if it's been down 20 points on any given day. Obviously it's a $100 stock here now, but I mean, it just goes to show you how it's so difficult to make money playing options. So yes, those buyers of those puts make money, but man, I mean, the risk reward is just not there. Like, it's like hitting the lottery with this headline overnight, and you're only going to double your money. It's tough. But I mean, in this case, the borrow, and I know Spinner you were talking about, I looked for the borrow on Tilray too. I looked for it last night on this headline. There's no locate. I can't find a locate on this thing. On CRON, CGC, I was trying to short all those too. And you know what gets you there? The bloody tick, the alternative uptick rule. So if you look, this headline breaks, and then you can't hit a bid to get short because they moved over 10% the last 2 days. So I'm sitting there and everybody's ganged up. So it's like 990 bid for like a couple thousand shares. And there's like 991 offer for like a couple 100,000 shares because everybody's trying to short. So anybody who actually had the stock long could have hit it. And I'm sure that's what eventually happens is, but people aren't paying attention. It was free money if you had the stock long. Well, not free money to save, because you knew it was going down and there was no way to get short. I was trying on every exchange. I'm like throwing it all out there, ganging up on it too, but there was no way to get lifted on those. I actually was able to get a little bit of Aurora Cannabis last night on the headline. That's the only one I was able to get short. So I did short Aurora after the headline there. We'll see what happens on that today, but I'll tell you, wow. Just big move here for these stocks. I don't know. Spencer, you were saying you think this might be a buying opportunity. What's your thought process here?
Well, if you were bullish yesterday, then I would still be bullish today. Like this wouldn't.
This isn't changing.
This doesn't change my thesis. If I was bullish, this does nothing to change my thesis. Honestly.
I agree.
So
I agree. It's just a matter of, is this enough to burst the bubble? And I know Matt Hanifin from my Twitter account was saying, when's the bubble going to burst? I said on most of these it burst yesterday.
Yeah,
it did not burst on Tilray.
Yep.
So now you get people caught. So now you have people who have bought the stock higher. Is this the bubble burst for Tilray? We've seen it down 20% before and come back. So I'm not going to officially say that this is the top is in here in Tilray now. And we've had a very difficult time doing that as of late. Like I said, I tried to call top on AMD a million times. That hasn't worked. Ends up, it looks like it was yesterday. But in any regard here, it's difficult to call the tops on these stocks. So could they come screaming back? Sure, they could. But valuation's always been an issue here. These are story stocks. The euphoria is what is driving it higher. The fact you can't short the thing is driving it higher as well, especially in the case of Tilray. The other ones is not the case. So it's a matter of when that ball turns and the euphoria is gone and people start losing money and then they don't want any part of it anymore. That's what we saw happen with the pot stocks before. If you go back out, you don't have enough information on Tilray because Tilray's only been out there since like June or July.
Right.
But if you go back on the other ones, we saw this. We have precedents here because we saw the bubble burst in these things before. If you look at Afria, which is in Canada, APHQF, if you want to look at it over here, it got up, and I'm just bringing up the chart on the Canadian basis, so it's APH in Canada. But back just a year and a half ago, I'm looking at it here, not even a year and a half ago, beginning of 2018, so just under a year ago, this thing ran from $8 to 24. Came all the way back down to $8. Now we just ran up to 22, and now we fell 5 points yesterday from 22 down to 17. So actually, in the last 2 days, from 5 points, I'm not entirely true. Started bursting, I guess, 2 days ago. And now if you're in the pre-market in Canada, it's trading under 17. So which obviously is going to probably be down here today too. But long-winded, sentence here. I'm just saying that we have seen these things burst before. Is this, now that the next bubble bursting? I guess that's a big question.
Just give you the pre-market lows here. CGC, which did get the memo yesterday, trading down another 267, and looks like you got some more work to do. 40.87 is your pre-market low made in the last bracket. Last tick, 41.40. I do see a low in that area at 41.15. So let's keep an eye on that. You always want for follow through to take out the pre-market levels. Under that, 39.09. That was your August 23rd low. And then CRON, I noticed that was weak yesterday. That's trading down another $1.07 at 9.04. We will keep an eye on a low that you had just under $9, 8.54. There was a pair of lows, 8.54 and 8.82. So keep an eye, split those two numbers and call 870 a potential double bottom area. CGC, Spinner mentioned, kind of has the constellation put in it, but you wonder.
Good call,
yeah.
Spinner. Good point, buddy. And I you know what, I'm on the board with you there too with the constellation. I think these things. This is a big down move here for CGC in 2 days. $52 down to $41. So you know what? I'm not going to say in Spencer Israel that these things could bounce back. They could bounce back. I don't know where. I'm going to let the dust settle a little bit though. Give me a reason to buy. Like instead of just saying, okay, well, 41 is going to be the low. Well, it could be 39. It could be 36. I mean, this thing came from $25. But I will say on that one there, if you're looking at, one that's pulling back and valuation still, these aren't going to my invest portfolio because valuations are still crazy on all these things. But I think, Diageo is still, they're still out there somewhere. They're going to maybe obviously not going to do probably canopy investment, but they could do in one of these other ones. I think there's still interest in the sector. I don't think it's dead. So I think you're right, Spencer. I think some of these pullbacks are going to get bought. It's just a matter of what price they bounce from.
And I just want to just elaborate a bit on that term that Spinner used there, the STZ put, that's a term that's like, okay, if there's a stock in a sector that has like a reason for people to buy it. And one stock that I'm going to do a little correlation here is Fizz, right? That is the National Beverage Company. You had Pepsi take out SodaStream, right? And I was just looking at that chart. I was going over, and the day that stock made a low on that day at like 115 or 116.41. It made a triple bottom after that at the 113.50 area. And what we mean by a put, it's like, okay, there was a merger in the sector. Someone bought SodaStream. Here's National Beverage Company. They have LaCroix water. You don't know, but sometimes when something when someone makes a move in a sector, didn't Coca-Cola do something right after that? Didn't Coke buy somebody? They bought a Brazilian coffee company or somebody or tea
Yeah,
company.
they did.
Yeah. So that's what we mean when we talk about having like a put underneath something is like there's another fundamental reason out there to be interested in the stock. And that's what we were talking about there with CGC. Just with all those stocks, let's keep an eye on your pre-market low and see if it coincides with any daily lows.
Talk over to and speaking of Fizz, I just want to mention this here. Guggenheim with the sell rating on it today. So your FIZZ or ZZ as we say in Canada got initiated with the sell at Guggenheim. They also initiated Constellation Brands ST Zebra with a sell as well. So you got two stocks there trading down. STZ trading down 270 right now. Probably the POTS stock's not helping it. Not that it moves with them a lot, but they do obviously have a big investment in CGC, and that got killed the last couple of days. So that's probably not helping it. But also getting the sell rating from Guggenheim. Fizz sell rating from Guggenheim was trading down a couple of points last night. No trades here to report this morning, but again, looking weak here, or actually, with a down, or not a downgrade, but with initiation at sell, you got to think it's going to open down.
Okay, you had a ticket at 211.11 in the STZ. You're back up at 212.13. So keep an eye on that. And below that, see another low of interest here at 208.50. That's your 4-day low. And then Fizz, this is a kind of a thin one.
Thin,
very thin. Not a lot of trades here, right? Oh boy, odd lots are trading. It's had a nice run.
There's nothing this morning. Just last night. It was offered. I was trying to sell last night too. I tried and I got 2 shares, not 200. 2 shares, you can see. Yeah, I hate that when you get like just a partial little 1 share, 2 share fills. It must really, and for me, I don't pay, the commissions like, I don't have the ticket charge where I'm going to pay $9.99 for that 2 shares. It must really stink though for a retail trader because there's a lot of 1 share, 2 share fills out there. It must really stink when you get filled on like 2 shares of something and then you pay $9.99 for that 2 share fill. I'm just wondering like why so many small 1 share, 2 share fills lately. Like if I look, I get like probably 7 or 8 of those a night where I'm getting filled on like 3 shares of something, not 300, like 3 shares. So I'm throwing out, sell a couple thousand shares of something. I get filled on 3 shares. I mean, it's a complete waste of time and it's just annoying. Usually I just turn around and get rid of it because I don't like looking at it, but it would really suck to pay like $9.95 a trade on those 3 shares.
Oh man.
Is there just that many small traders out there? Or is there something else going on? Because I've noticed this a lot more lately where I'm getting like these small little annoying shares. And yeah, so I got short. I'm literally short right now. I didn't even cover it. I'm short 2 shares of Fizz. I wanted to be short. I want to be short a lot more than 2 shares. It was a complete waste of time. But anyways, I didn't cover it, but whatever. It's 2 shares. I'm trying to get short more, but it's just obviously it's hard to get short that.
Hey, let's talk AMD real quick here because what a wild day yesterday. Pulling up the chart and
wild today.
Yeah, what's going on? Is there some? Do they like that they raised the price target on Nvidia, or what? Is there other individual news?
Is there another catalyst here? Is this just shop from the previous day, Mr. Israel? What is going on? And you can help us out, Lobster. We know you're all over the news there too. Is there another headline analyst rating here on AMD? It's up 4.5% after getting beats 15% yesterday down from the highs. It's bouncing all the way back, or not all the way back, but it's bouncing back about half the losses here this morning. But I've been watching this trade. Last night, this traded up to almost $31. Then it traded down to 30.5. Then it was up to almost 31 again. Then in the pre-market, it went down, I think, down to $30. And now it's all the way back up to 31.80. This has been a wild pre-market session here for AMD. Is there a headline here?
I have not seen any specific news that I could say is the catalyst for this move. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just doing the math.
I'm going digging here too.
I got a number I'd like for you here, Dennis. You
got a number on AMD? How?
I got a number on. Should I reveal? I hope the institution.
Give your number. Give your number.
$32.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
Because you had a rally, and I've been thinking about. I couldn't sleep last night thinking about $32 in this stock.
Why?
34.14 was that high from yesterday, right? Right, you took it down to 29.87. That's over a 4-point move. The 50% retracement is 32 even, and you had the high the other day on Wednesday at 32.29. So I think people that did not sell yesterday are going to be all over this $32 level here. I really do. I think it's I would love to see it like open up 32, go 32.50, and then come crashing back down to 32. So big level.
I have no idea. You know what? I'm done trying to trade AMD for now. I used to trade AMD every single day. I used to trade it with NVIDIA. It always pair traded pretty well with NVIDIA, and it is just its own animal here right now. I mean, all the semis got bought like it was crazy yesterday. If you look at, the other stocks like the semiconductors, look at like Micron, Applied Materials, all those things ripped higher yesterday, and AMD sold off at the exact same time. It's almost like they go opposite. Where right now and this morning that's not happening because they're all bid up, but it almost feels like, like when money's coming out of AMD, it's going into the other ones, and it's going into AMD, it's going out of the other ones. It's just tough trade right now.
I don't think it's gonna close over 32 today. Do you want to?
I have no bet. I'm not making any bets on AMD. Like I said, I'm done trading AMD for a while. It's a stock that I used to day trade every single day.
And it
is
wild,
so wild right now and so unpredictable that it's just not my animal. I mean, a lot of people are attracted to this type of stock, the wild child, where you can make the money fast. Let's get rich really fast. I'll tell you, I like to get rich slow. And if I can get rich, I'm all about the opposite of that. I can't predict something like this. I might as well go to the casino and throw it on red or throw it on black, because that's what you're doing. You can make, 2-3 points in a hurry here. You can lose 2-3 points here in a hurry here. There's no, there's no rhyme or reason, method to the madness right now. It's just all momentum going this way, that way. If you're good at trading this stuff, by all means, continue to do it. But I tell you, the stuff is hard to trade.
Okay. Pre-market high so far is $31.90. So we'll keep an eye on the $32 level.
The one thing I'm seeing, and this is a hat tip to the YouTube chat here, Argus did raise their price target to $40, but I don't.
Did that do it? Probably.
Maybe.
This just wants headlines. It's hungry for headlines. You give it any headline and it just goes nuts. So it's going nuts here again this morning. It's already traded 3.2 million shares. It's officially crazy town in AMD. NVIDIA had a headline here too, analyst action there. Somebody raised their price target there. Was it Needham, Spencer? I'm going off memory here. So I think I saw Needham going by, raising the price target up to a street high. Mr. Israel.
Yes. 350.
Oh, jeez.
So, and NVIDIA is trading up. NVIDIA got slaughtered there 2 days ago, went all the way down to 261 and bounced right back. I mean, these things just have underneath demand. Every time they pull back, NVIDIA just finds new buyers. Did it on earnings, pulled back a bit. 4 days later, it's making new highs on the move. I mean, there's just underneath demand. You want to talk about puts below or whatever you want to talk about. There's just underneath demand in NVIDIA too. Every time it pulls back, there's buyers. BTFD all over the NVIDIA.
To pre-market high 276.50. That gets you into an area of interest here. Your 3-day high 76.40. Your 5-day high 76.93. So a couple highs there as a reference point. You're only a buck away from there. If you're looking to lighten up here on NVDA.
Jump over. So that's the wild child from Esther. We've talked all the wild stocks. I mean, but let's just quickly mention Micron, Applied Materials, LRCX. A little relief rally here. My portfolio likes it because it's got Micron in it. I am fully invested in Micron here now with a full position. I think my cost basis is down over 52, but it's been ugly. It's up at 44. It got a bounce here. I mean, Goldman looks like they sold the low. They had the downgrade that day. The thing went all the way down to 40.68, and it's kind of ripped in their face here now. But anyways, Applied Materials, LRCX are all trading together here now. They get a relief rally. Intel gets a relief rally yesterday. I don't know if it's anything more than that because these things are still massively out of favor. So maybe get another move, maybe get a 2-day move. It looks like you're, popping here this morning. Maybe get over 45 on Micron here again, but chart is still just ugly. Trend is not your friend. Here is me talking against my book once again.
Dennis, are you trading the electrical vehicle startup NIO? Just IPO.
That's another wild child. And you know what? I had it on my radar to talk about here today. So it's been out for 2 days. Came out at $6 there 2 days ago. It's doubled here in 2 days to 12. Can it continue? So you go to $20 today. I mean, it probably, it's ripped up here and it's already up here another $1 today from the close. Who knows where these things can go? The only number you got is 1269. That was yesterday's high. Takes that out, and there is some sellers up there, but takes that. It's already traded 6.7 million shares. People just want to trade this stuff, eh? Nobody cares about the boring stocks. People only want to trade the wild stuff. Even when we talk the boring, we get like people don't want to talk that stuff. They want to talk all the wild stocks, so we talk them. This stuff, though, is the hardest stuff to make money in. I really, it's quick money when it's going your way, but it's so easy. In the long run, it's hard to, I've never seen a lot of real profitable traders that just trade all this penny stuff and all this stuff, new IPOs that are 2-3 days old. I've been up Bright Trading with 400 traders there. I don't know if I've ever met one, that's really been consistently profitable. They'll be up huge, then they're down huge, then they're up huge, then they're down huge. I'm sure they're out there. And I'm sure, right now it's been an easier because we're in a bull run. Some of these are sustained momentum where they keep going. And, heaven forbid, you don't want to fight the tape on this thing. I'm not saying go out there and short this thing at all. I'm saying this is not my cup of tea, trading this crazy stuff. It's not how I've made my living for 19 years trading this stuff.
And I'm kind of surprised here because, electric vehicles, Tesla, it's had a nice rally over the last couple days. So, but I will just say you do have a seller lurking out there at 14, just under the 1450 area. Big volume traded in two brackets, 1439 and 32, and then that seller step down 14.20, then under $14. So I think that, if you want to have a target on the upside, it's 14.39. That's $2 away from here. It's the only reference point. Coming back on the downside here, if you're trading this and you're looking to either, I don't know, can you short it? It's pretty
oh no, not 2 days. There's no way you're gonna find a locate on that.
Yeah.
It's settled now.
Yeah.
The 2 day settlement, right? So
1160.
I'd almost guarantee I can go just quickly look at my, spots where I can go get locates. I can almost pretty much guarantee you're going to pay through the roof if you are, but let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can. Here, we'll go see. I'm looking right now, see if I can get anything on it.
All right. Let's move on to a.
Oh yeah, I got it. I got a locate.
Okay. Get out there.
So you can short this.
Okay.
NIO, I got a locate. I'm surprised, but I got a locate. So you can short this.
Okay.
So, yeah. Shelly says he can short it too. Yeah, it looks easy. It wasn't even a hard one to borrow there. So you can. Okay. I just assumed it would be difficult. No, it's good. You can short it.
All right.
Not saying short, just saying it has the ability to short.
All right. Another stock with a similar symbol is in the news, and it's not good news here. We hate to, talk about these, bad things and disasters that happen, but it definitely affects the stock price. No. Spencer, give us
knock off the O.
Yeah, knock off the O.
NIO, knock off the O, and let's look at NI. And this is really a disaster for real.
I didn't even know before yesterday that this was even a thing that could happen, but apparently a gas main can burst, and that's what happened yesterday across swaths of Massachusetts. One person unfortunately was killed. Several others were hospitalized across several different towns as apparently a very old gas main. It burst and causing explosions in a lot of houses, quite frankly. And
this is blowing up people's houses.
This is bad. This is not good.
Where did this happen?
Across several towns in Massachusetts and in Andover, near Andover specifically.
Okay, so this is NI. This is the company that obviously is responsible here for this, and it's trading down 7% in the pre-market. The stock had actually been doing well, so I think this is a one-off. Maybe if this is a one-off, but we have precedents here too, not on gas explosions, but on natural disaster. Not that this is a natural disaster, this is something different. But when the wildfires happened, with PCG, remember, go back and look at that chart. Got hit the first day. That thing continued to go down for a month afterwards. So when on the first day it got down to 56, it ended up going all the way down to 37. So I ended up losing another 20 points after that. I don't know if this is going to be the case in NI. I'm just saying I'm not putting my investment dollars in this after day one, because we don't know what the repercussions here. There's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be some other stuff. Maybe they got to do some rebuild on all their other ones because they can't allow this to happen again. There could be some massive costs involved here. I'm not putting my investment dollars until I get more information on this. So yeah, 3% dividend may be attractive. It's giving back a month and a half of gains, but holy cow, this is a big disaster. And I don't think we know all the information. I don't have enough information yet to jump in here and jump on board and get invested into something like that.
And a utility at an all-time high, clawed back, actually made an all-time high yesterday at 28.11, couple highs in the 28. I don't know if we'll be seeing that today or anytime soon. They gave it a nice whack down to 24.38, now rebounding back over 26. So right now, basis your pre-market trading, little resistance here at 26.25. That's held up. 26 to 26 is a quarter has held up in the pre-market trading here since 7 a.m. Dennis, I wanted to go right to you at imbalances at 8:30. We had a question, a comment on our video from Mike Fries, and Mike is just one loyal listener out there.
What's the question?
The question is just imbalances. Could you hear us talk about it every day, and I know we've explained it time to time, but why don't you do a quick explanation of what they are, how you use them, and then we'll see if we can find a stock that actually made a little move off them.
Okay, so we're talking the opening imbalance. Obviously, on this show, we only talk about the opening imbalances. There's closing imbalances there too. That's a different story. I've actually written some articles on the closing imbalance in CFA magazine, which I explained very well. The process is a little bit different actually for the close. So if you're interested in that, I can send you out that article there from CFA magazine that I wrote about 3 or 4 years ago, but it's still relevant because the close is still done the exact same way. Opening imbalances come out on the NYSE at 9:30. And what that is telling you is information about orders that are marked for the open or marked above the close or below the close. So these marked orders are not pre-market orders. They're orders that are to be executed on the open at or above, or at, basically at the open. So for instance, I'll give you an example here right now. I look at Pfizer. Pfizer has 82,000 shares to sell. That is the information from today. So it's an opening imbalance of 82,000 shares to sell. What that is telling you is that orders that are marked or orders that are sent in day orders, it doesn't have to necessarily be marked for the open, but they're not marked for the pre-market. They can't these orders aren't to be executed in the pre-market, only in the regular session. As of right now, relative to the 42.85 close, there is 82,000 shares more to sell. So basically, if you put an 82,000 share order to say sell 42.84, that would make that an 82,000 share sell bound. So it's relative to the close. So there's right now more sellers than buyers relative to the close. If the stock was to open right now, it would open down. Now, new orders can come in. An institution from Fidelity might just say, I got 100,000 to buy, throw it out there. So that would then change it. If somebody came in and put 100,000 share order to buy 42.90 for the open, that stock, that imbalance would go from 82,000 shares to sell to 18,000 to buy. So that one order would change the entire thing. What happens is you see it early, 8:30. These are the initial, indications here. But as you get closer, more institutions come in. So, and then at 9:28, they actually on NYSE give you an opening indication price saying if the stock opens right now, it's not going to open at 9:28 because it can't open until 9:30. But if it was to open right now, this is the price it would open at. So then you have high frequency traders, you have traders, you have opportunistic traders buying stock pre-market, maybe trying to sell it. They think the stock all of a sudden is going to open at like 42.50. They'll sell 42.78, 42.77, 42.75 in the pre-market because they think they're going to be able to buy it at 42.50. But as they put those offsetting orders out there, that lifts the opening buy price back up. So if it's indicated open at 42.50, maybe at 9:29, now it's indicated 42.65. Now it's 42.75. So it actually lifts it back up. So what the whole purpose to it is to get transparency out there and to advertise and say, hey, we got a seller here. Does somebody want to provide some liquidity into this seller? Does somebody want to take the other side of this trade or some of these shares? So the designated market maker right now, if there was no buyers in the book, would have to absorb 82,000 shares. So it's basically advertising to all the traders who subscribe to the feed out there that we've got some sellers, and do you want to be, provide liquidity to that? I've always been a provider of liquidity to imbalances. If I see a huge sell imbalance, I think the stock's going to open too low, I will buy the stock. And then what that does is it helps to bring the price back up so the seller's not going to get quite as bad of a price. So that's what it is, just an advertisement out there to sellers saying, hey, we've got, a seller out here on the open and the stock, do you want to sell it with it? That's basically what they're doing. They're advertising it out. So long story short is when you see, at 9:29.59, you see a stock with a sell imbalance and indicate open lower, it's probably opening lower. So it's giving you an idea of where the stock is going to open. It closed at 42.85. A lot of people don't realize this. A stock doesn't open at the same price it closes. It opens at a completely different price. So and it's surprising as how many people don't know that. So this could open at 42.60, 42.75. As of right now, it would open down. That's all we can really say. But we can't say anything for certain because when the buyer comes in, it could end up opening up. But if it was to open right now, it would open down with that 83,000 share sell imbalance. I hope I explained that. It's a little bit confusing topic.
I just
Explain.
just a couple highlights on that. Dennis, you're more inclined to fade the imbalance than
Yeah,
there's a
I
big
provide liquidity into it.
right.
Exactly.
But
I don't go with
but
it
the
because
other
the stock's at a
people,
huge sell imbalance. It's going to open low. Why am I going to sell a stock if I feel like the fair value on Pfizer is like 42.75? It's been in an uptrend. I mean, why am I going to go down and sell at 42.50 with the other open? I'm going to want to be buying because I think it's opening too low. I think there's an opportunity to get on the other side of that trade. I've made a lot more money fading, going against the imbalance, like basically buying into a sell imbalance or selling into a big buy imbalance as opposed to going with it. Sometimes you go with it. I mean, when there's news, maybe you're going to have a sell imbalance and it's not big enough. Maybe it's not going to open low enough. But what I try to do is gauge where I feel the stock should open. I mean, if I'm looking at Pfizer right now, fair value is going to be up above 42.90 with the S&Ps. The stock's been kind of a monster, though. It's got some size of 43. There's a lot of considerations here because Pfizer is right here at a price that hasn't been for a long time. So if I go look in the open book, and this is why, it's difficult if you don't have all this information. I mean, it's a big edge to know where all the orders are. Right now, I know on Pfizer, at $43, there's 230,000 shares to sell. So, and that's pretty solid. When you go and you look at these numbers that I haven't been to before, I can pretty much guarantee that's an institution. That's probably a real order. I can't guarantee anything, but it's probably a real order. It's never been there before. It's out there at 8:37 in the morning. It's actually illegal to put orders in there, fake orders, and cancel them. You can actually go to jail for that. So people are pretty careful with the fake orders that they put in. Envelope orders during the day and are completely different. But if you're throwing out a big fake order, trying to knock the price down in the pre-market and then buying against it, that's illegal, and people go to jail for that. It's called layering. So $43, 230,000 shares, probably a real order. So I know right now on Pfizer, there's going to be some resistance in the 42.90s as all the opportunistic traders lean on that 43 for protection. If it takes out 43, which it might do today, then it opens up probably to the next big level. If I go look at the book further down, 43.50, there's another 82,000 shares there. If I look beyond that, there's nothing in the book really until 44, which is another 100,000 share there. So you probably got an institution just, throwing out 100,000. They got a lot to sell. It's going to throw out some 43s, 43 and a half, 44s. And it's probably going to be there until these are usually GTC orders. They'll probably be there tomorrow in this case because they've it hasn't been up there in a long time. So it's probably a GTC order, meaning good till canceled. They're probably out there tomorrow too. They're out there until they get executed.
Okay, Dennis.
That's why you see these big whole numbers, change,
hold up. Okay. You went into another topic there, but that's fine.
I did.
JV Spec is asking, do you buy the opening or wait for the washout? You can answer that, but with these something like a sell imbalance, there are some traders that will go out there and hit the bids, right? And then try and absorb the liquidity. Yeah, and look at Pfizer's went down like 14 cents since we've been talking about the sell imbalance here. But that you're more inclined.
Yeah, 0.14%.
Yeah, you're more inclined to try and help provide liquidity. The reason you do that is because it can flip. And, sometimes they come in and at the last second, boom, and you put your orders out there, OPG. So if they're not executed, they're immediately canceled. A question, Dennis, you get this at, because of the platform you prescribe for, you can get it directly from the exchange, right? If you pay for it. Yeah,
you got to pay for this information. People don't like buying anything. They want to I see this going, and people say, oh, I just got my news from Twitter. I'll tell you, I don't make any money from news on Twitter. There's no way to make. Maybe there is, but it's so late to the party. Sometimes you get an early, but for the most part, stuff's hitting Twitter after it's hitting a regular news feed. You need to subscribe. If you're going to be a professional trader, you got to have some news. I dump $3,000 a month in news. So I subscribe to everything. And that's just because certain platforms are going to get things before certain else. Like I said, I think Benzinga, bang for the buck, is awesome. I mean, and I totally, retail trader, they're going to get you what you, for the most part, what you need. You're in the upgrades and downgrades in the morning. But if you're just trading on news, you might have to subscribe to some other feeds too, because you know what? Everybody is working as hard as they can. People get stuff at different times. The press releases come in, those are good, but you got to do as much as you can. If you're getting all your news from Twitter, good luck. I mean, that's tough to be a news trader. Now, not all news traders though. So if you're, you might get by on that, but I'd say at a minimum, you want to have some type of news feed. And I think Benzinga Pro, at $100 a month, it's pretty good bang for the buck.
Also, I just want to make another comment here. You have to look at the stock, and you have to look at the size of the imbalance compared to the liquidity, the average daily volume. So if you have like 84,000, I mean, that's a decent size order. But Pfizer trades what? Let me get the daily here. It trades 17 million a day, so it's significant because it's coming in on the open. But really, what they're more important is if you have a stock, that trades, let's say 500,000 a day, and you got an 84,000 share selling balance, then you're really going to get a lot more.
Big difference.
Yeah, big difference. So you got to be, familiar with the stock that you're trading, familiar with the volume in the stock, and the proportionate size of that imbalance. And then Dennis tells people when the balances just aren't quite as valid. Some days where you pay no attention to them.
On the option expiration, it's difficult. I still look at them. I always pay attention to them to a certain extent.
Okay.
I will tell you, and I get this too when I start talking to balances. People are like, why do you use imbalance anymore? It's useless information. The closing imbalances are almost useless every single day. I mean, there's just so much going on there. It'll show you like 1 million shares to sell. 20 seconds before the close, it gets paired off and doesn't go anywhere. So for the most part, the closing imbalances aren't very relevant, aren't very useful anymore. The opening ones, people just don't use them for whatever reason, and they work. I mean, I get a good feel for whether a stock is going to open up or down. And it's not always going to be the case. They're going to flip and do some funny things, but other things being equal, I know right now there's a seller in Pfizer. I know right now there's an opening seller in GE. And if you don't have that information, you might be like, oh, you're looking for the news. Why is GE trading down 8 cents this morning? Well, I know what the news is. The news is actually that it's got 145,000 shares to sell. It's ex-dividend here today, and they're hitting it down. So sometimes there is coincidental news. A lot of times it's going to be a big imbalance because of news, but it's just information. And as traders, I want to be informed. I don't want to be the uninformed trader. I need to be informed, which is why I said it's very important. This information costs me money to subscribe to. So the imbalance feed, I believe you can get through Interactive Brokers for free. But when you're doing the open book, so that when I was talking about that Pfizer order, 230,000 shares, at $60 a month. So people say, well, why do you want to pay $60 a month? But I also not only pay for that, I've got the ARCA book. I've got the NSDQ book. So I pay for all those books. Add them all up, and I think the NASDAQ Total View, I don't know what it is, like $150 a month or something I pay for that. So, I mean, just in open books here, I'm paying $200 or $300 a month. And, so I have some expenses, but I'm running a trading business here. I'm not running, just, doing this as, a side money. This is my living. So treat your business. If you're putting $0 into expenses in your trading business and you're expecting to beat the pros, good luck. I mean, that's why we're going to subscribe to everything. And I mean, there's people that subscribe to a lot more than I do too. So, you can start getting to high frequency trading and they start getting into the data expenses and the feeds, and they need to be co-located and all this stuff. They can get into the millions of dollars a month in expenses. That's why it's hard to beat these traders, but they're trying to get a jump. They're trying to get an edge. And if they can be a millisecond faster than you, they'll have that edge and beat you to that trade. So I'm not trying to compete with the high frequency traders, but I am competing with everybody else. So that's why I don't need the co-location. I don't need to actually be the fastest trader out there, but I need to get my information quick. I need it. I can't wait for Twitter to show it up in a minute later or 30 seconds later. I need it when it's breaking. I need it within the first couple seconds so that I can make an informed trading decision.
All right, quick question here from Kedrick in the Google chat. Talking about NIO here. If you look at the 5-year chart, you'll see previous data from a former company. How does that affect the support resistance levels in the new IPO company? And I would say,
well, what is the question? Stop and repeat this.
Okay, NIO. You can look at the NiSource. You can look at a 5-year chart, right?
Well, I'd say get a different chart provider, whoever's doing that, because I bring up my NIO and I see a 2-day chart on it. Do you see a 5-year chart on NIO?
No, I don't see a 5-year chart. No.
Whoever your chart provider is.
NI.
You must mean NI.
NI.
Kedrick,
NI.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I was going to say NIO. I was like, if somebody's like showing an old ticker, an old company with the thing, get a new chart service. You got to have the information correct. So, okay,
NI. I'm sorry. Kedrick to me for
say the second question. So now we're looking at NIO. Let's say it again one last time. NI we're talking.
Yes, sir.
Looking at a 5-year chart on NI.
Right. And you see levels in that, but it was a former company. how does that affect the current support resistance with the new IPO company?
No, they see this is still, you must be talking IO. I'm going to say something's going on there.
And
You should not see you shouldn't see two, you should never bring up a chart and see two companies' stock prices. So like if it's an NIO may have been a ticker before, I don't know what it was.
NI, this is NI. This is NI.
NI has been out for more than 5 years, so that's why it's a very confusing question. I'm sorry, it's just a confusing question. All I'm saying is, if your chart's not clean and you're seeing information from a company that previously existed, get a new chart provider, because that is brutal, and yell at them for that. That's brutal.
Okay, all right.
If that's the question.
Bad one.
I'm looking on two different platforms here, and I don't see anything prior to this week. So on NIO.
But he is talking about
He specs says he's got a historical chart for NIO too.
I don't know.
Well, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see anything. The NIO has been out for 2 days. I don't want to see anything further than 2 days, because this came out 2 days ago, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
If my chart's wrong, this has been a 2-day IPO.
Yes, I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm sorry. Let's move on. I derailed you.
You don't have to be sorry. This is a great question. This is good stuff. Because if I'm just saying, if somebody is seeing old information from an old company, get a different chart service provider.
Lobster helps us out. Lobster with the save. He's talking about NIO. Remember KNDI? Candy? KNDI?
Well, that's a different ticker, though.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm absolutely completely confused on this question. Maybe I'm answering something's wrong, but make sure your charts are clean.
Can we move on to Sears? Because I know Dennis wants to talk about Sears.
Sure.
No, you don't.
What do you want to say? They lost like $4.
I thought you would.
Give me your story. Go.
No, I thought you would want to talk about it because they were supposed to report yesterday before the bell. They didn't, and like nobody even really noticed, I guess, until after the bell when they reported at 4:30, and they lost $4.68 per share, which is twice what they lost in the same quarter last year. Maybe you didn't want to say, maybe you didn't want to say anything.
$4.68 per share.
I thought you would.
Okay.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. I mean, and they're going to unlock value. I saw the headline. I got a kick out of it. I tweeted out. They lost $4.68 a share, and now they're trying to find ways to unlock value. What value? I mean, this stock is a zero in my opinion. Okay, yeah, you can sell some of your parts off and try to like unlock whatever you want. It's trading up in the pre-market, up 19% here because they're going to unlock value, but it was higher than that. It was up to $1.50. I think this continues to leak. I don't think there is any value here. I think this is eventually a zero. Nothing goes straight to zero. There's going to be pops. Maybe there's going to be something at the end of the day for equity holders, but there's a lot of debt there too. I think both Sears and JCPenney are dead stories.
All right, let's move on.
You want to move on to some earnings? We had play this morning.
Yeah, let's do some earnings. Something easy.
Easy. All right. Earnings play. Dave and Buster's this morning. Q2 EPS 84 cents versus 67 cent estimate. Sales of 319 versus $315 million. So beats on both the Q2 numbers. They're also raising their guidance for the fiscal year. EPS guidance was raised from 1.2 billion to 1.23 billion on the low end of the range. So a slight raise. They did say that comps for the quarter for Q2 decreased 2%.
Big old range here. You had a pop and a drop. I'm going to kind of rule out. The drop had some decent volume. I don't know how this thing printed 54, but you did print 61 twice here on your 15-minute chart. You're $1.90 away from there. You had a nice run in here. You're taking out the former high of the move at 58.86. So that would be a target. 61 would be a target. I think the longer you take to get back to 61, maybe you see some profit taking as this stock started out the month of August at 49.15. So nice run here. I don't know, Dennis, you got any thoughts on the adult Chuck E. Cheese?
I mean, it's moved up. It's been a little bit wild after it's reported here. I had to say $60 is a big whole number. I'll just go with that as your resistance point there. It takes that out. It opens up because this all-time high.
No,
you're way higher than this.
Yep.
$60 just psychological. It takes out 60. It could move up. It's above the recent highs there. So we'll see what it does at 60. That's the first test.
We also had yesterday after the close, right? Who am I thinking of yesterday after? Who's on my list? Let me pull it up real fast. We had Adobe, right?
Adobe.
Trying to remember. Adobe reported yesterday. We had a Q3 EPS $1.73. That's a 4-cent beat. Sales 2.29 versus $2.25 billion. So beats on both those numbers there. The Q4 EPS guidance beat by a penny. The sales guidance was also a slight beat. So slight beats all around for Adobe.
Stock just trading up 8 cents here in the pre-market. It's been kind of wild though. It lifted a bit, then it got hit. Now it's just kind of settling in. I think this is like the same thing as Nvidia and stuff. These things pull back $4 or $5, they just find buyers. We saw it on Salesforce.com. CRM pulled back on the earnings, they buy it. You know, ServiceNow I think was the same thing. Pulled back on the earnings 5 days later, they buy it. These things have BTFD all over them. I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I'm a buyer of the dip as well. Go with the flow.
Okay, your two-day high and your all-time high was 270.94. Your all-time closing high was made yesterday at 68.52, so it's trading up 12 cents. So you definitely want to see it hold that green. And someone that had an opinion at 270.94 on Wednesday is out there in the pre-market trading as well. You have 3 consecutive brackets where the high was exactly at 271 even. So if you're looking for a big rip-roaring day, you got to get up there, take out those sellers at 271. They have been there for at least the past hour. Coming back on the downside, I mean, if you want to try and buy the close on this thing, you certainly can. You're only 12 cents away. The only problem is leaning on yesterday's low, 265.01. Not much. I'm sure there's some intermediate numbers in there, but more comfortable giving you that resistance at 271 than trying to identify support. It had a spike all the way down to 261 in the after hours trading.
Let's talk just stocks that have been breaking out and continue to break out here. And these do pull back, but it seems like every time they get a dip, they're to be bought. Etsy breaking out here once again. ETSY pulled back just a few days ago from 51 to 45. 3 days later, it's back at 51. It's like the BTFD just all over these things. GoDaddy breaking out here too. GDDY, we talked about this one. It pulled back, if we just go back about a week and a half ago from 82 down to 78. It's back over 84. They just come back, man. A lot of these stocks are just honey badger stocks, and they just, whenever they pull back a little bit, they're just buyers beneath. You know what other one though is interesting here right now, and it's not, doesn't fit the description of these, but Hewlett Packard, HPQ. I've been talking about this one for a while, and it's just quietly starting to make, trying to make new highs here. Look at this chart, Joel. HPQ. I mean, here's a stock that, has been in the gutter back in 2012, 2013, came out from the gutter of $5, got back in the gutter in 2016 when it fell from 10, and just been slow and steady climbing back up. And obviously 3D printing is going to be a big part of their revenue sources in the future, I believe. I think they will be the major player. I've said that before. What are your thoughts here on HPQ? Because the chart's interesting.
How come I pull up HWP and I get nothing on that?
Joel's just trying to be funny because they changed the symbol. But anyways, that's going back and stating himself. This is a lot of years ago now. Probably like over when the Compact merger came, they went to HPQ. You're dating yourself, like 15 years ago.
Remember Compact, CPQ? Oh my gosh, what a stock that was.
Remember Compact, CPQ? I traded that all the time back in the day. Compact computers. And Hewlett Packard bought them, and they took the P and the Q.
What a mistake.
That's what they took from them. When the PCs were so hot. Everybody else remember Compact computers, CPQ? That was a fun stock to trade.
Spitter does, I bet. Let's see. You broke out yesterday. You did have some resistance just under the $25 level. They cleared that seller out yesterday. They only got to 25.09. So I like to see it holding here. The market's in the green. I like to see it hold 25 here. Then, follow through on the breakout. You do have the all-time high since the IPO at 25.28, 25.26 was the high the following day. So that would be the next target here for HPQ. And we haven't talked about the 3D printing stocks. Wow. You see that triple?
They pulled back. You know what? I'm interested in these. So what do you think? I kind of like that 3D printing. I like this chart. it's 3D, DDD, not only because it's my initials, but 1780, little washout there a couple days ago. Now it gets back up over this 18, starting to show some life yesterday, 1909. I like this 3D. I would stop out below the low at 1780, but I like this for a setup. I like this for a trade here.
Yeah, that all came back. And
long side.
Similar on the SSYS.
Yeah, nice little pullback to buy here right now.
Not quite to 50%. I kind of like the SSYS better. Because I mean, you have a big old gap at triple D, but you got a smaller gap here. But gap. I mean, if you spend your life in trading and investing, just waiting for gap fills, you could have some pretty lonely days here. S&P's still hanging in there, 2909, up 375. We did have some other analyst ratings that were pretty important, and our moving stocks today. Let's start with one of my favorite stores, Costco.
Yep. Costco's catching a downgrade this morning at Wells Fargo to market perform, sort of neutral there. They are maintaining their $235 price target.
Valuation's always been an issue. It's why it's not my investment portfolio. Love the company. Stock price is just fully valued. That's my opinion here. It's been on a hell of a run. I mean, from June 200 to 250. I think it's overdone. So this isn't like a huge growth stock. It's an awesome company. It's run very well, and obviously makes a ton of money as well too. But valuation, I think it was trading like 29 or 30 times. I mean, it's always been an issue for me when you can buy Walmart at like 17 or 18 times Costco. You're paying almost twice as much for the same dollars, but again, the companies run the best. So I like Costco still. I think, buying the dip may be a thing to do, but it's just a valuation issue for me. So that's why it's not in my long-term investment portfolio.
All right. You're trading down here in the pre-market session. 237.20 is your low. You do have a low that coincides with that at 237.20. Exactly. That's exactly your 4-day low. The only thing is thinking you might have some more work to do on the downside here is you only got a 30-cent bounce. So let's see if that 37.20 holds up here. You get back over 238. Maybe the buy the dippers will come in on this one, but you're hanging in there. Could be some more sell orders there. Your next low after that is 235.06. So, just also remember what happened to Micron the day that Goldman Sachs changed the rating on
it. Can turn around and go,
yeah.
But that was a different story because that was almost like downside capitulation, and it had been going down for a long time. This Costco has just started going down. If it breaks trend, then you'll get the Momo traders out of there too. Not that there's a ton of Momo traders in there, but there's people playing that trend. I mean, draw purple, take your Jeff Mackey purple crayon, draw a line, from June, July, August lows, and you come down there, you probably get to about 233, 234. I mean, it's still going to be an uptrend at that price. So you probably have $4 or $5 worth of work to at least get down to the bottom end of that recent trend line there, and that's where maybe the initial bounce is. Maybe it bounces before then too, but just know if you're buying at 238, it could be down 235, 234, still being an uptrend. So you almost got to take that heat on it. I'd say below 230, that's where it starts to get a little bit uglier. So bulls in control as long as the stock stays above 230.
Any news on Apple here? We're getting someone just mentioned it's moved down $2 here over the last 15 minutes.
Where it was trading up earlier and now it's down?
Yeah, it's down 62 cents.
Always news on Apple's the problem. You're worried. I can go to headlines. I'll see 100 headlines on Apple. Is there anything jumping out at you, Spencer?
Yeah, headline I see is a report that the iPhone XS and XS Mac are already selling out in terms of pre-orders, but
that's good news.
Yeah,
stock's going
but
down.
Like you said, there's always a million headlines on Apple.
There's a million headlines. You got to decipher through what is really moving the stock. If there's an analyst, obviously that often comes out and trumps everything. But I mean, there's always a million headlines on Apple. It's just wild. I mean, it's still trying to find. It's had an incredible run. It's trying to digest the news from a couple days ago when they had their Apple event there, and it's still trying to find its home. So, got hit a little bit on the Apple event, bounced right back there that day, and then yesterday gets up to 228. So it's got major resistance up at 230. I will say that. That's the old high, 229.67. So we'll call it 230. That's your major resistance area. At 225, you're kind of just, 5 points off that. I think as you get in 228, 229, you find sellers. And, probably if you get down to the lower 220s, you find buyers too. At 225, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. All right. 8:59 here in 40 seconds. Dennis, just get your closing thoughts here. And then Spencer and I, there's like a bunch of tickers I'm writing down all over the place. Yeah, no, but No, I mean, do you just want to give your closing thoughts? You want to stay on and comment a couple of these stocks in the chat, or just whatever? I know you're.
I ended up staying late yesterday, and I never done this in a long time, but it was such an interesting interview you guys were doing yesterday. Gordon Johnson was on, and that was interesting. And then you brought Jason Raznick on. It was so interesting. I caught myself listening to it for so long that I looked up at the time and I was like, oh my goodness, it's 9:25. I'm like, I can't get it. I have like 30 positions on. I was like, and I still, like position these manually, to exit. So I want to exit some of these on the open. I didn't get all my opening orders in. So you guys were so interesting that you made me lose track of time. I didn't get all my opening in, and then it cost me money.
You know what?
I'm not staying late with you anymore. I got to stop listening. I've set an alarm. Stop listening to Pre-Market Prep. You guys are going to go late. You gave me in listening to it. I need to stop listening by 9:15 so I can actually get ready for the open. So Jason Raznick was too interesting yesterday, the conversation there, and I missed some of my open.
Well, the thing is I got up.
Give hell for me.
after the show was over, I got up, got some water, and then I came back to my desk. And you know how Skype tells you, Skype tells you how many like messages or how many lines I had. And I looked, and I had 32 messages from Dennis, and I'm like, oh my God,
I had a rant.
He just dropped 50K, and I'm like,
I was so angry.
I know, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm just going to let him, But okay, Dennis.
All right, it's 9:01, Dennis. Why don't you get out and go do something.
Get out, so I don't have to yell at you again.
All right, let's go to the charts and let's look at some tickers here.
Have a good weekend.
I want to reiterate. I just want to talk about AMD real quick because who just popped in here? Let's do this. Hey, have you guys talked about AMD? And yeah, we did. And we talked about it just when it got up near the highs of the session. And the pre-market highs, 31.90. Boy, I'd love to see it up there again. The reason I'd like to see it there is you had a big down move yesterday off that high from 34.14 to 29.87. Reason I like 32 is I don't pay attention to any other fibs, but I like the 50% retracement. And I was just thinking about all the people that maybe got caught yesterday or people that are, sitting on profits from the stock that was $20 just a couple weeks ago. And I still like that $32 number. We backed off 60 cents from there, but that's what I'm looking for. If you think that AMD is just going to go right back up to $34, you better look at the pause in the action here at 32. 31.90 represents your pre-market high. So Spencer, I wrote down some tickers. Do you want to try and pick up some too and see if we have any news on SHPG? And that stock is trading up 370.
Yeah, the news on that was their merger got approved in China.
Okay. Well, that's good. Up 378. First thing I like to do, there is some volume here. Just remember, this is not the primary market here. This is an ADS. And I will look and I will see a couple weeks ago that you had an all-time high at 177.29. And then that high was flanked by a 177.01. So your pre-market high is not quite there, but what would you like to do? Oh, no, you got to 177.50 in the pre-market trading. So that's an important area. That's the area of the former all-time high. So I will look at that as resistance. Also KDP.
Neutral initiation today from Guggenheim. They had a big note on beverage stocks.
Curing Dr. Pepper. So that's a combination of Dr. Pepper and a coffee company, right? Boy, just long consolidation here and just a slow, steady decline. And now you're getting a nice boost. Someone's standing here at 24.76. That's right where you're trading. Don't know if it's bid or offered there. That's the highs of the pre-market session. Above that, you're in an area of resistance here. The all-time high is 25.25. That was made on July 12th. And the following day, 24.95, 25 even. 20. A lot of resistance here to me in the $25 handle. Trading up 63 cents on just a couple thousand shares. What other stocks here do we have on interest, Spencer?
Someone asked about Torque, TORC, not one that we've looked at before, I don't think.
TORC. Torque, 12.90. I don't know. Yeah, I'd try and find out the reason that is this a biotech? No, I have no idea what this company is. But First of all, I find out the reason. I do some little research and find out why it went from went to 901 and then had a $20 high, closed at 13. This looks like a wild one. I would just say if you want to play this for a breakout, I'd have to wait until it really shows that it wants to stay above 1350, 1355, which yesterday's high, it closed at 1290. And then you got a couple other pesky highs at 1339 and 1340. So until it gets back, holds, closes above 1350, I'm looking at that as resistance. And then above that area, I see a couple highs near 14. I'm not sure in the volume on this one. Had a nice volume update yesterday from 91,000 to 334. That's one of its biggest up volume days in quite some time. And it was on a kind of a, it was an update, although it was only 11 cents. The other thing I'd be looking at is this is on a 1, 2, 3 out of 4. It's been higher 5 out of the last 6 sessions. So keeping an eye on that closing price of $12.90.
BG Tokyo wanted to know about BG. I guess they had gotten a few weeks ago now. Mentioned from Stephen Cohen.
Bungee Limited. They make bungee cords?
No, agricultural.
Okay. Well, it's coming up in an important area. It traded 64.98, but very, very, very small volume. 100 shares. Ticked it at 65, 30 shares, it's 65.98. And then you can go basis your daily charts here. 65 is not really a level. I guess called 65.5. That would represent a solid breakout in that one.
Actually, that was yesterday. They had Razor. It was released that they raised their stake in Bungie. That's what it was.
There's just a bunch of tops in here. Actually, you got a double top from yesterday. We're trading above it now. And 64.5. I'd have to see if this little pop here is for real, because you did have a seller at 64.5 the last couple days. So now that old resistance will now act as new support if, in fact, we do go into a decline.
Stargazer asking about LPL and OLED. I know OLED was getting hit during the Apple event. That was the last time I looked at the stock.
It's hanging in there, though. It's up 25 cents at 121.05. Stock's had a pretty nice run here. Just seems, we're stalling here. It looks like we're getting some consolidation. You did kind of sneak out of the bottom of a trading range. You had kind of have a trading range from like 120 to 125 and a half, or 120 to 130. You're now bearing down on the lower end of that range. So really like to see this thing get back up here, continue this consolidation, and then move out, take out the highs of the move. You take out yesterday's low at 1850, and looks like things open up to the downside here in OLED.
And then similar play, LG Display, LPL.
LPL. This looks like one. Yeah, this is, this thing just trades all over the place. Gaps everywhere, trading up 90 cents. Do we have any news on it?
News this morning is that they were picked as a second OLED supplier for iPhones.
Okay. So. Pre-market high should be your target on the long side. 1026, still holding above $10. I don't know. This thing's just too gappy to really get a good feel of it. You're breaking above your August 22nd high. Guess if you want another target on the upside, 1039. That was your August 21st high. We're, good 60, 70 cents away from that.
One more on my list we didn't get to discuss during the show was STI had a really rough couple of days here. Apparently, and I didn't realize this, SunTrust has a lot of exposure to the Carolinas, also catching a downgrade, kind of piggybacking on that this morning. Piper Jaffray downgrading SunTrust this morning to neutral, lowering their price target to $74. You can see it now trading at 68 this morning.
Now, exposure, you mean as far as like
I mean, they're a regional bank in the Southeast. So,
well, the only thing I thought that I remember when talking with Tim Melvin about, the Houston situation, and I thought, that might have a negative impact when they had the hurricanes. And I think he kind of said no because they're just going to loan out more money. People are going to need to rebuild and everything. So it's a big hit here. So you're trying to catch a falling knife here with the downgrade. Trading just above yesterday's low. Keep an eye on that, 67.61. If you're trying to pick a bottom on this, you had two other lows in that area, 67.91. And 67.32. So you're already at area of support. Those are just two big, heavy red candles. So, fighting the trend here. Yesterday's open was very important. 70.95 open only ticked 71.01. So you're only getting 6 cents of heat after a big down day. So big volume yesterday. Maybe there's some more sellers out there in SunTrust banks.
That was all I had on the list, though. So if there's anything else, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Let's just take a look at just a couple of these hurricane stocks here with the landfall taking place. Boom, Lowe's caught a really nice move off this, trading up 45 cents. Did, when it went down from 4 to 3, it did tail off a little bit yesterday. But if you're looking at the all-time high here, or you want a good number, my only number for Lowe's is the double top, the all-time high, 114.53 was your high, but then the one day they bested it by a penny at 114.54. So there's your target. You don't want to see it go red on the day, trading up 45 cents. And then GNRC, Generac, that came off a little bit harder, trading down another 12 cents. Just don't like it being in this gap area. Yesterday's low, 56.60. And then really, in order to fill the gap, you got to get down into the lower 56s. The gap fill would be at 55.93. Okay, well, if that's all the tickers here, I'd like your feedback on us staying on a little bit longer. Angie, baby, what do I think about the pop and the S&Ps? It was follow through from yesterday's high. And Angie, baby, keep an eye on that pre-market high 12.25, because when we traded Sunday night and Monday night of Labor Day, I know everyone was barbecuing and being out in the sun. We did have a high on that Sunday, Monday session at 29.1250. So we got all those losses back. We got back to that area. The only number above that is your all-time high in the September contract, 29.1750. I'd be more comfortable buying this thing unchanged on the day. That would be 05.25. So now we are officially done for the week. We could start the weekend.
Oh, we can start the weekend now. Great. All right. Well, if you missed any part of our show today, you can catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, or just watch the show on Benzinga's YouTube channel. Thanks to everyone in our chats today on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Real quick, all the information from our show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice. Hope you all had a good day. Hope you have a good weekend, and I hope you join us again on Monday.